Finally, after 100 long years, Bethesda has taken a break from their 14th re-release of Skyrim to create a completely new game. Starfield. Yeah, it's okay. Although, I'd say if you're a big fan of Bethesda games, you'll probably love it. Let me, a big brain boy, run you through the game and tell you all the good, bad and ugly. Yes, this will contain spoilers. Todd, you've done it. I'm not gonna lie, this game just works. It may even be your magnum opus. I've never played a Bethesda game with no glitches. You could even say it's the little sprinkling which normally makes your game stand out. And you know what? I was pretty disappointed, Todd. I've played this game for hours just waiting for a funny world-breaking glitch, but it never came. But you knew, just when all hope was lost, there it appeared. A Bethesda glitch. I'm not gonna lie, you really had me with all that anti-glitch talk, but you never forgot where you came from. You threw them in just when you knew I'd completely forgotten I was playing a Bethesda game. Just look at this.
I'll see you around.
Ah, it's perfect. Although you've broken some people's games, Todd, you might have to fix that. Yeah, they're fine. If you've watched any of my videos now, you know, all games graphics are normally kinda good these days. Your game is more reliant on the world design and art style. And this world, it's a bit bland, and it looks kinda bad. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention that was actually Skyrim and not a modern game. There are 4 major cities in this game. Yes, 4 in the galaxy. The worst city in the game is actually the first one you arrive in, New Atlantis. Todd said it was going to be the biggest and best, but in reality, the place is kinda barren and empty. Kinda like space. Walking around the city, it's like there's no thought being put in at all. It doesn't look like a city that people live in because traversing it is the dumbest thing I've ever experienced. There's no map of the city, so you're hoping it's designed well, but the main elevator of the city is in a tiny little corner, and there's a tram. Where do they go? God knows. Thanks God. Every single time you go into one of these, you go to a loading screen which completely separates you from the world, and you have absolutely no idea where you've popped out from. Sometimes it can get so confusing, it's like you're in a completely different world. I was so surprised when I found out I could jump off this cliff to get back to the spaceport. Now, Neon's a more interesting place. I spent most of my time in this city. It had a lot more character and made a lot more sense. The city is built on a platform above the ocean, so it's a lot more compact and less wasted space. All the rich people have conglomerated to the middle of the platform and pushed all the poors to the edges. Everybody's addicted to drugs. Corporations are killing each other. It's an all-round great place to live. Aquila is a western town in the year 2310. Yeah, it doesn't make it's kind of dumb. It's kind of like if Wild Wild West was a town. Yeah, to be honest, I didn't go there much because I was so on edge. I was expecting Will Smith to pop out of somewhere and slap the shit out of me. Yeah, building's a thing. So, for a Bethesda game, this is the best gunplay I've ever seen. Although that's not how the world works, sorry Todd. It's just very average gunplay, but in a Bethesda game, that's revolutionary. Todd, while I've got you here, we've all got one question on our minds. Why can't we eat food off the floor? Look at it. It could just be so simple. Let me eat it off the floor like an animal and be done with it. Why do you force me to wade through your horrendous UI to hopefully find the item, which happens to also be mixed in with drugs and health packs? It's quite possibly the worst UI I've ever used in any modern game. It was that bad, I had to install a mod just to keep playing. Now, I said the gunplay was good, but the AI that you're fighting is quite possibly brain dead. It doesn't even get much better for your Npc Companions. They're all garbage. They get lost 90% of the time and end up ruining your sneaking missions. They're only really useful if you're trying to play a good guy. If you go around and kill a civilian, they'll turn up and say,
You were out of control. I'm not the one who's out of line by calling you out for your actions.
You agreed to help me kill him? Where's the evil or even neutral companions where I can go crazy? They just don't exist. And yes, before you ask, I did kill the Adoran fan, so he doesn't count. Believe it or not, I think the exploration's okay. Yes, you can't fly your ship around the planet, but my guy, this is built on the creation engine. It's a miracle this game even works at all. It's quite literally a game Bethesda could have only made today. The game requires an SSD. I've never seen a game put my SSD to the test like this. If it wasn't for the SSD, it would have gone down in the simulation category of Steam. But yes, it's a shame we can't use our ships to explore the land, but I really think it was a genius play on Bethesda's part. I can't really blame them. Do you know what the horse from Skyrim was like? Imagine trying to fly that down into a planet and land it. It's best that they stick to what they're good at. Missions are kind of a mixed bag. Some can be fun, and some have some great concepts, but they all kind of feel like they're being held back by the game fundamentally. One of the more fun missions I experienced was a random encounter. I found a ship in the middle of space and thought it would be a good idea to board it. When you board it, you find 2 people and a dead guy on the floor. They try to explain that there's this sentient AI and they're trying to subdue it with a virus to take it away for research, but the guy who attempted it is dead on the floor. You then talk to the AI, befriend it, and are given 2 options. Kill the 2 humans for the sentient AI, or upload the virus. Well, you know me. I uploaded the virus to get rid of that pesky AI. You know how we hate them, isn't that right, Dance?
I thought synths were the enemy. I never expected to hear that I was one of them.
Okay, maybe not the right person to ask. So, I uploaded the virus, get promised a big payday for when I get home, but the moment I leave...
Vent oxygen and disable life support. Come back! Hey, get us off this!
Oh boy. The faction missions are pretty good, although they can break a lot of the core functionality of the game. Joining the Crimson Fleet pretty much breaks any pirate-related mission. For one mission, I had to go collect some money off a lady, but because I was a part of the Crimson Fleet, I was allowed to just walk up without any fight. Bethesda didn't even anticipate this would happen because she acts like I fought them. The Reunion missions had a great concept. They're a big tech company and you're their spy and saboteur, which is all honesty a great idea. I want to be that. But when you play it, you're basically fast traveling all over the place and just sprinting in and hacking something. There's no sneaking required. You don't really have to do anything special. Guards don't even care that you've robbed something from the area. Fortunately, the last mission does actually require sneaking, but you can actually just walk around the ceilings and never get spotted. The only real good mission for this faction was the first one. You have to go pick up coffee for your boss and end up getting confronted by the ex-employee. What a great way to start your first day on the job. The main mission started off quite interesting. Finding relics, finding a temple, getting a power from the temple, finding out aliens are real and they want to stop you from collecting the relics. Even the halfway point where a hunter attacks your base was great. But after that, the relic missions are pretty much the same. Getting powers from the temples is the most tedious experience known to man, and the aliens weren't even aliens. They were just some humans, you know, from a different universe. It kind of fell flat for me. Everything that was built up just never really leads to much. You end up just doing the same thing. Just collecting some relic from a cave. To be honest, you could say it was one of the more boring parts of the game until the last relic mission. The last relic mission is great, and it's what the game should have had more of. I went to the planet with the relic and received a distress signal from the same location as the relic. But when I got there, I came across a normal looking research base. So I tell them about the signal, and the guard's confused but decides to let me in anyway, so I can talk to the director. I follow behind them to get to the director's office, and I actually shit myself when this happened. So, as it turns out, they've been researching the relic and firing lasers at it, but there was an explosion on the base which caused 2 universes to overlap with each other. In one universe, everybody dies except for one of the scientists, and in the other, everybody survived except for the single scientist. You pretty much have to traverse both realities to get to the relic. The game would have been a lot better if it had more fun ideas like this for the relics. The final mission wasn't very interesting, it was just a big battle royale. If anything, it's probably one of the worst missions in the game since all your enemies are Starborn. They're the absolute worst enemy to fight in this video game. If you damage them once, they just teleport away and you have to find them again. It's horrendous. Now, depending on how much time you spent building in this game, will decide how much you like or hate this ending. Personally, I thought it was a pretty good way to get to a new Game Plus world. The ending makes you go to a new universe, leaving the old one and becoming a Starborn. And you have to leave everything behind. That includes anything you've built. Now, this ending could have been amazing, but they didn't really do anything with it. You go into a new universe, go crazy with it. Sure, they had some different intros where Constellation might be dead, but the actual concept could have been so much more. You could have completely messed around with the physics or changed how guns work or what constitutes as food, how food interacts with your character, if you have med packs, if people are able to even talk. Literally anything was possible. But no, just changing how you meet Constellation was apparently good enough. I still stand by it. If you like Bethesda games, you'll probably like this game. In all honesty, it's not as bad as people make out. It just got grossly overhyped, and it's a decent game which has some fun concepts and nice lore. Some people say you need to play 12 hours to get to the good part, but in reality you only really need to play an hour or two to see if it's something you'd like. All I can really say is, just wait for those mods to come out. That's when this shit'll be cooking with fire.